So what I'd like to show you today is how to drop out the background, make that black. We can convert an image to black and white and actually bring back the color as well using a couple plugins, my favorite plugins, which are the Nik Complete Collection. We'll be using Efex Pro 2 and Viveza 2. These are software plugins that are free through Google. If you go and just type in Nik software, for instance, it'll take you to the Google Collection, Nik Collection. You can download it for free as of this video, and it works on both Mac and PC. And it works in plugins for Photoshop, Lightroom, and Photoshop Elements. So I've taken this sheep that I took a picture of at the fair, and I have several layers here that I saved because I always like to show before and after, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to just put in a video here for the ebook. And let me go ahead and just show you. This is a background copy. What I did was I actually did take a little bit of time to get rid of some of these poles in the background, this little tag that's in his ear, some of the grasses down here on the bottom, to make it a little bit cleaner so that when we go into Efex Pro, we can get a nice effect. Now, Efex Pro is a black and white conversion program, but I'll show you how we can bring back color once we apply the silver effects to it. And then I use Viveza 2 with control points to get rid of some of those extra little coloration around the edges and make it look natural. So this is before. I'll go ahead and just show you that real quick. This is the before image, and here is after. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just go ahead, I'll just delete these. We're going to start from scratch. And what I'd like to do is I'll just duplicate a copy so we can see what we're going to make some changes of. I'm not going to get rid of all these poles. I'm going to get rid of a couple things just right off the bat because I want to kind of clean this up just a tad. So we've got some, looks like hay that's kind of sticking up on the bottom here in the middle. So I just selected it using my lasso tool. And what I'm going to do here is let's just go ahead and do a edit fill. And with the edit fill and content aware selected, I can go ahead and click OK. And that should do a pretty good job, as you can see, getting rid of that. Now, if there's any edges here, I might go in with like a little healing brush or a healing tool here and just kind of clean that up just a bit so the edges look a little bit more natural. Now I'm going to do this pretty quickly because the main part of this presentation here is actually getting rid of that stuff in the background, not so much these little things here. But let's just clean up his little ear here. We're going to get rid of that tag. It's a little bit distracting. So again, I selected it. I'm going to edit fill. Let's see how that does. Okay, so it didn't do a perfect job here, but what I could do is maybe take the clone tool, and I'm just going to just grab a little sample here, see if I can get some of that coloration of the ear back in there so that it looks a little better. And then let me just go ahead and just deselect it. Okay, so it's not perfect. Again, this is a quick demo to show you some of the other features. One more thing we'll do is let's try to grab the yellow tag on his ear. Going into edit fill once more. Click OK. And let's see how that, okay, that did pretty good. That's not bad. Okay, we'll leave everything else the same. All right, next we're going to go up into our filter menu. And under our filter menu, this is where you're going to see the Nik Collection if you have it installed. In the Nik Collection, you have quite a few different plugins, but we're going to concentrate on Efex Pro 2 because what we're going to do is we're going to make this into a black and white image. I want to really push the background to black as much as I can while I'm in this program. So we're going to go ahead and bring it into Efex Pro 2. And there we go. Okay, so this just by default converts it to black and white. What I like to do is I like to look over on the left-hand side. Here's a series of plugins, or excuse me, presets that I can select from just to give me a head start onto where I want to go. So actually this low key I'm going to keep an eye on because I like that dark background. That's the effect that I kind of want to get right now. So we'll see if we can go back to that. But I'm going to scroll through just to see if there's any other presets that might work better for me. Okay, this film noir might work as well. But I think we're going to go back. Okay, so that's all of them. So I'm going to go back up to the top and we're going to select the low key. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. Now you can see that the background has turned black, the sheep has turned dark as well. What I might want to do is selectively bring out some of the brightness on the sheep because he's our subject. We want him to come forward. We want to push the background away. And the clever thing about the Nik software tools, the plugins, is that we have what's called control points. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So underneath, there's global adjustments. I'm going to close this up. But underneath the selective adjustments, you'll see a little button called control points. If I bring that control point onto my sheep, I'm going to go ahead and click maybe on the lighter areas here because we're really going to brighten this up a bit. I'm going to expand this out just a tad here so we can see brightness, contrast, structure, amplify whites, amplify blacks, fine structure, and selective colorization. So in this case, we want to brighten this up just a bit. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to take another control point and place it on his little dreadlocks there. And I'm going to go ahead and brighten those up as well. And you can also add a little contrast so that we have that nice dimensional high contrast look there. I'm bringing up structure as well. And structure is going to almost bring up almost a sharpening type effect to it. So it's looking for those fine lines and details and really bringing those up. We're going to place this on his fur. Now, when I do this, you'll notice that there is a top slider. This controls the area of influence. So this is the area that's being affected within that area that looks like a circle. And what I'm going to do here is, again, bring up that brightness a bit. Okay, that's looking good. Add a little contrast back in there. And then if I like this effect, I can hold down my Alt or Option key. That becomes a plus sign. I will click and drag this control point to another location if that's the kind of effect I want. So this is looking pretty good. In fact, we're going to stop here. So that's all I did is I added a couple control points onto my sheep just to bring him forward a bit. Add a little brightness, maybe a little bit of structure to add some almost kind of a sharpening effect to him, and as well as contrast. So he's being pushed forward now, which is good. And then we're going to go ahead and click OK. So now this is going to create a layer. Now I'm in Photoshop right now, but you can use this in Lightroom or Photoshop Elements. But you can see I'm using this in Photoshop so I can show you the different layers. Okay, it's going to go ahead and process this image. We're going to get a layer here, and you're going to see the effect. And then we're going to do one more thing before we say that this sheep is done. Okay, in fact, some other things you could do is you could use Color Efex Pro, for instance, in Nik software. There's some really great presets and filters in there that you can use if you want to keep this as a color image, for instance. But for our purposes, we're going to make the background black, and we're going to bring back the color in this guy. I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a darker background. We've got our sheep. He's looking pretty good, but what we're going to do is we're going to bring back some of the color. And how we can do this is up in the blending modes, and this is in Photoshop. Click on that drop down menu, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom where you see luminosity. And luminosity is going to bring back some of that color, and we can make further adjustments if we choose to do so. Okay, the next plugin we're going to use is under Filter, the Nik Collection, and we're going to select Viveza 2. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start out with what I call anchor points with these control points. I'm just going to click on that button. I'm going to move my cursor into the screen, and I'm going to click and just drop these control points on my sheep because I don't want that to be affected. See how I'm just clicking and dropping those on there? Now another way you can do this is holding down the Alt or Option key. That's just a quick way of just kind of clicking, dragging, and duplicating those points out. What we're doing is we're preserving the sheep. We don't want to have what I'm going to do next affecting my sheep. So I'm just protecting it by just dropping these control points, a bunch of them, onto the sheep. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. We're going to go ahead and click on another add control point, but in this case we're going to click on the background because what I want to do is I want to click on this bar, bring the brightness down. See how it's black now? And I can choose to increase or decrease the area of influence. I'll show you real quick how that works. If you go under the control point list in Viveza, you'll see that the one that I have selected is highlighted in orange. And if I click on that little checkbox to the right of it, it's showing you what's being affected. So if you ever want to see, if I expand this out, okay, it's starting to encroach on my sheep a bit. I'm going to take them back a little bit and do little areas at a time. You can always go under the control point list with the control point selected, click on that little checkbox if you want to see what's being affected. Okay, because I have the brightness all the way down, I'm just going to duplicate this again by holding down my Alt or Option key. I'm going to drag that down and just kind of pull it across. I'm going to get rid of some of those bars in the background, some of that distraction, and see if I can make this a really nice dark background. Okay, just a couple spots. Now I can go in also later on and paint black some of these areas. My main concern is to make sure that these edges look as natural as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these preserved or anchor control points and kind of bring that out to the edge so that the black isn't really encroaching onto my sheep too much. I think that's starting to look pretty good actually. Okay, so with that done, and I can go in and paint some of this other area, and if I want to, I can go ahead and click OK. So now this is going to take it back into Photoshop. And right now it's processing that particular layer. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. There are some spots that I could go through and just by using my brush in Photoshop, making sure that it's black and set to 100% opacity. I'm going to bring that back up. Maybe change the size of it. And just go and just kind of get rid of some of these little blue spots that are kind of peeking through. I can always go back into Viveza if I wanted to as well. But Viveza does the best job, I think, on just getting rid of some of those edges. You can see the little curly hairs of the sheep around the edges look pretty natural. And it looks pretty good. So what we did was, again, this was our original image. We took away some of the little straw down on the bottom, his tag and his ear, took this into Silver Efex, and by using one of the filter effects called, this one was Loki, I was able to select a dark background and create a, let me see if I can grab this here and put it back to normal, how we saw it. So it was a dark background with a lighter sheep, using those control points to bring out some of the brightness in the sheep so it pulls forward. And once I was in Photoshop, if I wanted to, I could change the luminosity to bring some color back in, and then I just finished it off in Viveza. So it's that easy. If I wasn't talking you through this, it would probably just take me a minute or two to do. It usually works pretty well on most images. So I hope that you'll try this on some of your own images. Again, the Google Nik Collection using Silver Efex Pro 2 and Viveza 2.